Okay, here's a wee video about our solar system.
How it works and what it costs. Now we're making this video because when we were looking to upgrade our solar, we couldn't find many detailed, unbiased videos to convince the War Office that we needed to spend the cash.
And we both didn't really understand what we actually needed.
No, we didn't. So in the end we just went with our installers' recommendations, trusting that they knew what they were doing.
Thankfully they did, and we have a great solar system that really suits our needs. Thank you, Motorhome Solar in Hamilton.
Yeah. Johnny, Chris and Wendy were fantastic to deal with up there. Yeah, actually the whole team were great to deal with.
Yeah, they were right. Yeah. So we're going to do a tour from top to bottom, from panels to batteries.
And solar chargers to inverters. Then we'll tell you how it works for us full-time on the road in New Zealand.
And finally, the whole cost of the system.
Right. So, first, panels.
That's things on the roof.
The Jayco came with 160 watt panel standard, and we upgraded that to 260 watt panels in the factory. So we had 320 watts of Jayco solar.
So we then added 3 200 watt panels, so our total solar on the roof is 920 watts.
Yeah. So our panels are wired in series, and we get lots of volts and not so many amps. Wiring up this way also saves on the size of the wiring. It does sound like a lot, 920 watts, but in a house you might have 5,000 to 7,000 watts available. And you do need to bear in mind, those panels only make that much energy when the sun is directly overhead with no clouds.
Yep.
Panels are rated from the factory at 1,000 watts per metre squared, which isn't always achievable in New Zealand. No, so that's because we're at the bottom of the world.
Yeah.
But in summer we do get close to that peak.
So in the winter months, when the sun only gets halfway up the sky, we have maybe the equivalent of 450 watts.
Yeah.
If it's sunny and when it's cloudy, we might have the equivalent of maybe 200 watts.
Yeah, which probably means I'm going to have instant coffee in the morning rather than firing up the inverter to run the coffee machine.
Yep. So there you go. I think the best rule of thumb is to talk to an expert in the field, like Motorhome Solar, and figure out what your usage is like and install panels, controller and batteries to suit your individual needs.
As you can see, we are just about at maximum capacity on the roof, so to go too much further we'd have to think about maybe folding panels that can be set out when needed, but they are quite expensive because of the structure that goes with them, and not sure that even I could get that past the War Office.
Probably not, no.
Batteries.
So they're the black things under our bed.
Yeah. Silverline came with 100 amp hour lithium battery, and we added a second battery, so we have 200 amp hours of capacity.
Yeah. In the summer we can use everything and anything all day and all night, and even run our fridge off the 12 volt system.
Yeah. The fridge doesn't actually run off the solar, but rather the solar keeps the batteries up and allows the fridge to run. Yeah, so it's not really a solar fridge, but yeah. Anyway.
And so we can run the air conditioner if we want to.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that we would, because if it's a sunny day we would usually be outside enjoying it, and I can tell you I need a lot of sun to tan this body.
So anyway, in the summer our batteries are back up at 100% by 9 or 10 in the morning.
Yeah, so that's great, but we're full-timers. And in the winter, in the South Island, we have to watch what we use.
Because again, further south you are, the lower the angle of the sun, and thus less wattage per square metre.
Yeah.
Once again, I think battery capacity is another case of matching to your individual needs.
Yeah. There's not much point in having a huge battery system if you don't have the capacity to charge it up.
Exactly.
Solar controllers. Okay, so the next part of our solar system is the solar controller. So we sort of have two. We have the projector controller that came with the Caravan that does all sorts of things, as well as being a 30 amp PWM solar controller for the standard Jayco panels.
Yeah. Hold on, what is a PWM?
Okay, so it's a pulse width modulation controller. Basically a switch between the solar panels and the batteries, and it does the distribution of a lot of 12 volt DC power and a few other things for us. Yeah. We also have a Victron 50x100 MPPT solar controller to look after the additional panels.
Hold on, what's the MPPT?
Okay, it stands for maximum power point tracking, and it's a more efficient solar controller. We also have a Victron shunt to keep an eye on the entire system.
What?
A shunt. It's a device that's got an unusual name that measures voltage and amps running through it.
Okay. So the Victron shunt has everything running through it, and the Jayco controller just measures the Jayco, the in and outgoings.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And there's a very basic wiring diagram. I'll show you how it's all connected.
So the end of the result of this is we want to look at the overall power or the watts being used. Then I use the Victron shunt rather than the Jayco panel.
That is definitely right, yeah. It's definitely more accurate and reactive, especially when we're using the inverter. Now, I was given the option of having a Victron gauge in the van, but I elected to use the app as I didn't want yet another gauge. On reflection, when we're running low on power and I want to keep an eye on the ins and outs, I wouldn't mind a gauge to glance at rather than loading the app, but hey, it's really a first world problem.
It is, yeah.
Righto, inverter charger.
So now our inverter. The Jayco van doesn't come with an inverter from standard, so the only time we can use the 240 volt plugs, the microwave and the aircon, is when we are plugged in at a campground.
Yeah. So we needed a few extra things for our full-time caravan life. They included a hairdryer, some curling tongs, charging for the e-bikes, and a coffee machine.
I've got curly hair, I don't need curling tongs. Really, the coffee machine was the justification for getting the inverter, as Greg's first coffee cost $6,000. Then the second was $3,000. He's probably down to about $50 a coffee by now.
Yeah. We have a Victron 2000/80 inverter charger, and it works perfectly. As you may have guessed, it's a 2000 watts is the maximum load that the inverter is designed for, and up to 80 amps worth of charging.
So that means that all of a sudden you start looking at the max watts on your appliances.
Yes. Yeah, and Sandy, the coffee machine is right up there.
It's
at
right
about
up there, yeah.
1600 watts. Even if you have no 240 volt equipment running, the inverter still takes some power just to be on. So we have a switch that turns the inverter on and off.
It uses about 120 to 140 watts when it's turned on with nothing plugged in. So it's always best practice to turn it off when it's not being used, when we're off grid.
The few times we've run out of power, it's usually because someone has left the inverter turned on for an extended period of time. I think I'm going to put a light on it so we can tell when the switch is on.
Yeah, I
or
think
off.
that'd be a good idea.
Our inverter is connected so that all the power points are live with 240 volts. So, it's great. But it is something that has to be managed so we don't run out of power. So, that's our system. Yeah.
How does it work for us? Well, it's fantastic. I think we have only had to go to a campsite once or maybe twice to plug in, and that was because someone...
Maybe me.
Left the inverter on overnight.
Yeah. We also take the opportunity to plug in when we're friend camping.
Yes, friend camping. Yeah, it's like friend camping, but at friends' places.
Yeah.
Thanks, Parked Up Visiting Friends. You know who you are.
Yeah. We felt very spoilt when we're plugged in. Sometimes we just leave a light on for the hell of
it. Yeah, just because we can, yeah. I think it's great how closely we look at our power usage now, and it's great not having a power bill in the monthly bills.
Yeah. As I mentioned, the Victron app shows the shunt, which measures all the ins and outs, and it's how we monitor our power, as it's much more accurate than the Jayco screen. It's a great little app, and it basically has two parts. The shunt, which shows everything going in and out. I love that name, shunt. Yeah. So the second part of the app is how well the solar panels are doing, and it's good to keep an eye on everything. It has lots of information and history, and it's a great app. No crashes, very stable. It does take a moment to connect, but hey, I've got moments to spare.
Yes, you do.
We're very happy with our system, however, we do modify the way we use power.
You can't have the microwave and the coffee machine or any other 240 volt appliance running at the same time when off grid, because we've only got 2000
watts to use. Yeah, that's right. When plugged into shore power, obviously we can use everything the same as you would in a house.
And you do become very aware of what uses power and how much, and you have great interest in any appliance that is 12 volt.
Oh yeah. Working out how much power things use was interesting.
One thing that stood out is the LED strip lights use quite a bit more than the LED downlights.
Yeah.
Cost.
So the total cost of our upgraded solar system was $8,573.
Whew.
Made up of the extra solar panels and battery from Jayco at $1,748.
I didn't realise it was that much.
Yeah.
God. And then the additional panels and inverter we had fitted by Motorhome Solar in Hamilton, $6,825. So there are no real running costs and we don't have a power bill every month.
Yep, but I am aware that there will be a cost in the future, as I know the batteries don't last forever, so when we need to replace them, that will be our power bill.
Yeah.
It'll just be...
And one large lump sum instead of being spread out every month.
Yeah. So, are we happy with our investment in solar?
Yeah.
Yes, we are. Yep.
It's fantastic to be able to go anywhere for as long as we like and not have to be connected to the grid.
Yeah. Sort of makes us feel ecologically friendly, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because we don't use much power.
Yeah. And we're careful with our water and our waste. It's very minimal. So,
Oh my goodness, we're turning into hippies. Oh, well, that's not a bad thing.
no, it's not a bad thing. Yeah. Okay, so that is our solar system. It's a great addition to our caravan. Big thank you to Motorhome and Solar, who are fantastic right from the onset to the installation and the handover. Just goes to show you, if you deal with the right people, you get
Great results.
Yeah. Hey, we've got lots of videos coming up. Looking
Yes, we
forward
have.
to the iDrive review, because it means I'll get to speed round in the ute testing it.
Yeah, you already have been doing that, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you got something out of this video, please think about subscribing. It brings us a little smile to our faces every
Mostly,
time
mostly,
someone
yeah.
subscribes. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.